Hello, and welcome to Crime Labs. As always, please like and subscribe to our channel to help us grow a voice for victims. Today, we will be covering the case of Angela Green, a loving mother who went missing in 2019. The circumstances surrounding her disappearance remain strange and unexplained. Angela and her 18-year-old daughter Ellie got into a disagreement over her daughter's increasing independence. Angela asked her daughter to leave home for the first time. Ellie says the last time she saw her mother was as she backed out of the driveway on June 19, 2019. Ellie went to stay with her boyfriend's family. Ellie says she expected to hear from her mother and come back to see her. Instead, she didn't hear from her again. Her father, Jeff, texted her 3 days later stating that Angela was going to seek mental health treatment. Her family is aware of some hoarding tendencies and possible bipolar personality, but a formal diagnosis was never given. Angela did not have any deep friendships, did not have social media, and did not carry a cell phone with her. She rarely left the home without Ellie or Jeff, mainly due to a language barrier. Neighbors loved her and the work she did for the neighborhood as an avid gardener. Angela immigrated to Kansas from China to marry Jeff after they met in Beijing while Jeff was on a work trip. They courted via mail for 1 year before Angela moved to Kansas to marry him. By Angela's sisters' and Ellie's accounts, their marriage was more of a business partnership. They were not affectionate, slept in separate rooms, and Angela had to be conscious of finances, asking permission for all costs. She did not work outside the home and devoted her life to her daughter. Ellie describes it as perfectionism that became obsessive and expected Ellie to strive for perfection. Ellie is certain that if Angela was alive, she would reach out. 3 weeks later, Jeff says he needs to give her news in person. Ellie finds out that her mother has died of a stroke in the hospital, and her father asks that she not tell anyone else in the family so he can have time to grieve and process. Ellie finds it odd that her mother, who is very particular about looking nice and having her personal items, left her purse at home. Her father also refused to answer Ellie's questions about where her mother's mental health facility was located. Jeff told Ellie that she could come back home to stay, but Ellie said she had an eerie feeling about the house and her father's actions. He was showering her with gifts and would not answer any of her questions. He told Ellie that he took Angela to a supermarket parking lot, met a mental health team, and they took her to a treatment facility. In September, Jeff asks Angela to sign her mother's name on a beneficiary document. Ellie questions this, but Jeff told her that it was for her benefit. Neighbors start to notice that parts of the yard were not kept tidy as usual, and while Angela usually decorated for July 4th with multiple American flags, only one showed up in the grass. Months go by, and Ellie finds out that her maternal family still does not know about her mother's death. She reaches out to her family in New York on her own, who is in shock of their loved one passing away months prior, and they ask for proof. Ellie has no proof, so the family goes on a search for a death certificate. Ellie skips her college classes and drives to Topeka's Vital Statistics office. They were unable to find Angela in the system after doing a nationwide search. 7 months later, a welfare check is requested by Angela's niece at the residence in an effort to locate Angela Green, and a new story emerges. Jeff admitted on the phone with Ellie, who was at the police department, that he made up a story about taking her to the grocery store parking lot, but insists he wanted the best for her and just wanted her to get treatment. Homeland Security, Immigration, and Customs Enforcement investigated and were unable to find any evidence of her leaving the country and found that she left everything at home. Police arrive at the Green residence for a welfare check in February of 2020. Angela's husband, Jeff, stated that Angela went out for the night and he wasn't sure when she would return. Police come to the home a second time, and Jeff changes the story to, "She will be back this weekend." The third time police come to the house looking for Angela, he hands them a business card for a criminal defense attorney and refuses to speak any further. Police begin searching for Angela in February 2020 and questioning those close to the family. One person mentioned Jeff said he would be gone from work for a few days because his in-laws were in town. Angela's parents had not visited the USA since the 2000s. Law enforcement also attempted to pull data from traffic cameras and surveillance, but since it had been several months since she went missing, the data was gone. Jeff previously stated he paid over $1,000 to cremate Angela's remains, but this was determined to be untrue, and it was revealed he bought the urn online, which sat empty in the house for months. Jeff said he never opened the urn when a man from the funeral home brought it to their home. On March 11, 2020, the police issued 2 search warrants in connection to Jeff Green. The first is made at the family home, and the second at a storage property. Jeff since bought another property, but at this time, the judge said since it was bought after Angela's disappearance, it was omitted from the warrants. It ends up being searched 9 months later in December 2020. The storage property was a leased property to several companies, including a trucking company, and some companies that use marble and granite. They searched some wooded areas, a small pond, and trucks on the property. At the family home, police broke the front door. An SUV was towed for testing, and luminol was placed in the windows. The backyard was excavated as well. It is unclear whether cadaver dogs were used. The search included approximately 70 law enforcement personnel from 8 departments. During the search, Jeff was taken to the police station. Police say he never spoke a word, even when asked if he needed water or to use the restroom. After the search, Jeff replaced the front door and changed all exterior locks. He didn't allow Ellie to come to the house unless he was there. Ellie was living at a property Jeff bought for her to live in and took pictures of a suspicious earth mound with black plastic protruding from the ground. A cement stepping stone and 2 of Angela's favorite plants were planted on top, transplanted from the family home. In July of 2020, over 1 year after her mother's disappearance, Ellie goes to the news and pleads for any leads or tips. The police also ask for help. As Ellie speaks more with the public media, Jeff withdraws more. This escalates in December 2020 when Angela's story is published on the Dr. Phil show. Information about her life insurance policy are revealed to the public. Ellie also took soil samples from a home Jeff owned and turned them into investigators. Cadaver dogs marked every sample positive each time they were placed. These soil samples led to a search warrant of this home and property, which was previously excluded from search warrants since Jeff bought the property after Angela's disappearance. Ellie expresses fear that Angela's body may have been moved because Jeff had taken time off work to conduct landscaping projects on his properties. Law enforcement said they did not find anything of interest in their search. When questioned if they used cadaver dogs, Sergeant Adam Taylor replied, "We did dig by hand, though." In early 2021, over 18 months since Angela's disappearance, investigators shared they are working with the KBI and FBI crime labs, and that Jeff is not aiding the investigation at all. District Attorney Steve Howe asks for the public to come forward. Legally, it is a missing persons case, but it is being treated as a homicide. Jeff is not officially named as a suspect or person of interest, though police admit his stories are concerning. In September 2021, a GoFundMe was created to provide a private investigator for Angela by her family, and a civil suit was issued by a wrongful death suit against Jeff Green. Let's hold a moment of silence for Angela. There's no way, with how much she cared for me, and there's no way that she would just up and leave. Thanks for watching Crime Labs on YouTube. Please click here to watch our other videos.